Peace and abundance always. Welcome. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, minister and PhD in metaphysical sciences. So, what I do is I study the deeper hidden meanings of life and all things, often referred to as spirituality. So, today we're going to continue our journey into looking into numerology, particularly angel numbers. You know, those numbers that you see randomly that are kind of have different variations, whether it be, you know, four of the same digit, random times in the middle of the night when you wake up and it's 3:33, or, when you have these random moments of seeing these numbers that constantly repeat themselves to you. And so we've already covered numbers 1 and 2. Today we're going to cover number 3. Number 3 is a very, very special number, just like all the other numbers. So we're going to get into why exactly and what's so special about the number 3. So first off, let's go into understanding the power of 3 in numerology terms. So just understanding the significance of the number 3 and what it means when it comes to life, spirituality, just a deeper essence of what it stands for besides maybe 2 plus 1, right? Or 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? It is something else. Numbers is the universal language of all things. And some people even believe that numbers are the language of God. When we understand numbers, we can understand the patterns and the, hidden meanings and definitions and understandings as to unlocking the universe. So it's very important to really think about numbers on a deeper level outside of just what we learn in school, traditional school, right? So the number 3 represents creativity. It represents self-expression, joy. And so when you think about the fact that you are a creator, we are all creators here. And so your job to live on purpose, to actually experience fulfillment, joy, and happiness is in fact to make sure that you are in alignment with creating the things that you desire. You desire them because that is an expression of your unique individuality. And it is an expression of that divine spark that is the creator looking to be itself. Okay. So when you think of 3, recognize that there's a connection to the number 3 and how it relates to your nature as a divine being. Okay. The number also symbolizes expansion, growth, right? Inspiration. So also recognize that this number is very important to your spiritual journey, because the spiritual journey is one of expansion, is one of leading and being inspired by what it is that you're creating, and thus being inspired to create from a place of consciousness, right? From a place of awareness. In the beginning, we often are not aware that we are creating this reality. And so as you go through this journey and you begin to unlock the pieces of realizing, wait a minute, my consciousness is creating all of this. So therefore, I can decide to create whatever I want. That is really in alignment with the symbolism of the number 3. Okay. Now, the number 2, as we discussed before, represents balance. The number 1 represents starting things out, the leader, right? Being more of a initiator. But 3, it bursts forward in a sense of recognizing creation as an expression of life, okay? As an expression of how to bring balance to oneself, how to be a leader for oneself, you see? So, it's important to recognize 3 as creativity, as expression, right? It's a call to embrace your artistic self. Really, it goes beyond just the arts. It is the essence of life. Your life is essentially the art of your consciousness. So you have to ask yourself, when all of this is said and done, what kind of expression of art will you leave behind? What will your legacy be? What will your expression, your understanding, your connection with life in this physical realm, in this place called Earth? What does that look like? Right? How is it seen? When you look back on this life, will it be something that you are proud of? Will it be something that you understand? You are, looking at from a sense of, yes, I went through that and that was amazing. Okay. That is the mindset you should be having, right? And three represents that. Three represents joy and optimism. It represents the understanding that life is a game. And so when you recognize life as a game, it allows you to relax a little bit and not be so urgent, not have so much seriousness about yourself and about everything else is going on, right? So it encourages you to see life from a positive attitude and to recognize, you know what, though there are moments where things are heavy, there are moments where things are sad, where you feel anger, where you feel disappointment. But ultimately, the grand scheme of it all is to have fun, be in a space of joy, be in a space of optimism, because you are a divine being. Okay. You are an individualized expression of that which we call God. And so all of the seriousness that we experience, it really is to be looked at from a perspective of recognizing that on the grand scheme of things, it's not that serious, right? Because one, we never really die. Life is all about transformation and change. And so all the things that express themselves or we experience as bad they often fall in those categories, right? Somebody we love passes away and we miss them. But when we get back into our spirituality, recognizing that energy doesn't die, that our consciousness doesn't die, it just transforms, then we recognize, oh, wait a minute, they're not gone, right? When we're in a particular situation where we have to go through some harsh changes, and a lot of times we don't like change. But when you recognize that change is inevitable, it's a thing that is unchangeable. It's the only thing that is consistent. It's the only thing that remains the same is change. And so when you understand that from a spiritual standpoint, you recognize that, okay, let me just relax because this is the nature of the game that we're playing. You see, three also represents communication, right? Social connection. When we discussed the number two, it was about relationships, right? Being able to connect with others, cooperation, right? But three is about communicating with that other person. It's about communicating with yourself, communicating with the universe. You see, because if you ask anybody, most times when you ask people what's the secret of a good relationship, they will say communication, right? You probably are one of those people. So you have to recognize that communication is key along this journey of life. And three is a symbol of that skill, that power. Okay. Growth and expansion. So it's a period of learning. It represents personal growth. It represents transformation, right? Reaching new horizons, expansion. Okay. A lot of these things overlap with one another when you think about it, joy, optimism, growth, expansion, creativity, expression, communication, right? They all go hand in hand, you see? So the next thing I want to say is that it really connects with divine guidance and alignment. Okay. It's one of those numbers that reminds you that you are supported. It reminds you that the universe is one with you and its objective, its nature is to make sure you win because it is one with you. It wants you to win. It needs you to win. In fact, you're guaranteed to win. So let go of all of the misconceptions, the limiting belief systems, because all it is really slowing it down, right? And it's also creating a space where you feel like you're not connected with the divine, you see, but you are the divine. So it's really interesting. But the three represents that. So as we get into angel numbers, the angel number 3, and this relates to seeing the different variations of 3. Okay. 33, 333, 3,333, 3333, right? You wake up in the morning, you look at the clock, is 333, right? It's you're finding that, okay, this is a common number that I notice a lot of people wake up to. And because threes represent creativity, it is probably a symbol, a sign, a signal to let you know that whatever was going on in your subconscious is leading you to an answer, a solution, a creative solution to actually solve or resolve or create something that you desire. You see? So while we're sleeping and we wake up at these certain times is very interesting and very important to really take a serious inventory as to what's going on at that moment. If you had a dream, instead of thinking you're going to go back to sleep and wake up later on and you're going to remember the dream, that's probably not going to happen. At least it doesn't work for me. I try it all the time. So it's important if you're going through trying to figure out something, right, which is getting into your creative juices, right? Any problem, it is utilizing creativity, right? You want to utilize that skill set. So if you're waking up at 3:33 and you know that you have this issue that you have to resolve, that is the time where your subconscious is actually looking and creating the solution. Okay. So it is time to embrace that creative power and trust your inner voice. Like, allow yourself to be chill. Remember, like, this game is a game of reawakening. It's a game of understanding who you already are. This game is not a game of win or lose. You see, it's just a game of self-realization. So you've already won. So relax. A lot of these practices, a lot of these symbols, a lot of these tools, numerology, is to give you insight, to bring awareness to you, to let you know, okay, this is the direction that you should go, or you're in the right space, okay, or you need to make an adjustment here or there, or not make an adjustment at all. But a lot of times we're constantly worrying and we're constantly in a space of really being in a state of anxiety and urgency, thinking that, time is so important that we have to figure it out right now, right now, right now, right now. And all that's doing is causing you to be tense and it's causing you to not allow yourself to connect and align with that divine source. You see? So you have to trust in your voice. And to trust in your voice, you have to simply just let your voice speak its language. It's like communicating in a relationship. In the beginning, you have to learn each other's language. And if you don't know each other's language, then it creates difficulty for you to understand the other person and them understand you. So you have to recognize that, okay, this beginning process of you looking into your spirituality, looking into consciousness, looking into, numerology and numbers and recognizing the signs and symbols and all these things, it is a language that you have to learn to decipher, learn to understand. And when you do that over time, you begin to get those insights and that knowledge and that wisdom right away over time. But initially, you have to be patient. You have to trust it. Okay. So seeing 3 is a message that your ideas, your creativity is actually working. So just continue to be in a space where it allows for your mind, your superconscious mind, your higher self to actually communicate to you. It's really about not so much the superconscious or the higher self, not so much letting it communicate to you. It's really about your conscious mind being able to hear it, being able to see it, training your mind to recognize those patterns, training your subconscious mind to understand and be at one with those patterns, you see, because those are the aspects of your mind that more are analytical, right? That are really tangible for us. They're really at the front of who we are and how we observe and deal with the world. And we're trying to learn to understand and receive the higher self and the superconscious mind and the, you know, a universal source. Okay. That is also an extension of who you are. Okay. So let's get into the different variations of three. The single digit three, if you see that number now, recognize that when you see the multitude of the numbers, that means that it's more intensified. Okay. But they also can mean individual things as well. But when you see the number three, okay, that represents focus, joy, creativity, expressing your authentic self. Okay. Because that's what three represents, the expression of authenticity. Okay. Then when you get into 33, the master number, it signifies spiritual enlightenment. It signifies spiritual communication. So it's really like understanding that you're on the right path, that you are dialed in, that you're in a flow state. Okay. Now, 333 is a sign that your angels, your guides, right? The universe is encouraging you. Now, whether or not you believe in actual angels or spirits, that's really here nor there, even though we're talking about angel numbers. And oftentimes people believe that that is particular entities trying to communicate with you. And whether that's true or not, it's really not that important. The importance is that you recognize the numbers, and the importance of it is that you understand that it is the universe communicating to you. It is yourself, your higher self communicating to you. You see, so it is letting you know that, okay, you're on it. Keep going, keep focused, keep moving, keep in the same direction, the same path, the same intention. Keep following through with the same mindset, the same speech, the same, people, the same community, okay, the same actions, okay? And then finally, 3333, which is 4 3s, it's a powerful confirmation, right? That you are aligned with the creative path, that you are aligned with your essence as a creator. So it's letting you know that you're dialed in at that moment to your ability to create whatever you want, because you're really understanding yourself. You're recognizing your divine power to create anything that you desire. Okay. So those are the ways you look at these numbers. And now we're all individuals. So you have to recognize that though this is a generalization, a template of general understandings of these numbers, they can be something completely different for you. But understand that threes will be a symbol or sign of tapping into your creative power, tapping into that God consciousness, that creator source, essence of who you are, you see. So let's get more into the spiritual meanings of the number three, meaning that we're going to look at how the number three in different perspectives, theories, teachings still have a similar meaning, right? Understanding. So we talk about threes, and threes represent like a divine energy. All numbers represent a divine energy, but threes in particular, because for me, I talk about the trinity of manifestation, and that essentially is mind, body, spirit. Okay. When all those three things are aligned, you are essentially dialed into your creative power. All right. So they represent a sacred triad, right? That forms a spiritual understanding as to what your essence is, like what your purpose is. Okay. So in Christianity, again, the three, it represents the Holy Trinity, right? Father, Son, and the Spirit. Okay. Now I call the manifestation Trinity is mind, body, spirit. Those can overlay into Father, Son, Spirit. Okay. Now that is getting into the metaphysical understandings of Christianity, which we won't get into in this video, but they overlap with one another. In Hinduism, right, three symbolizes the three main deities, right? Brahma, which is the creator, Vishnu, right, which is the preserver, and then we have Shiva, which is the destroyer. Okay. So again, three entities. Okay. Now this is going over Christianity and Hinduism, you see? So it's overlapping in so many different cultures and belief systems that that is when you start to pay attention and say, okay, there is obviously truth to what this means, what this number means, because they overlap in areas where they quote unquote should not. All right. And sacred geometry, three represents the triangle or the pyramid, right? Which is a powerful shape for strength, unity, manifestation. You see, I mean, if you even think about the pyramid, it's shaped like an arrow, like it's strong, like it will stand, it will not topple over. Like there's so many different ways to really consider understanding the three, you know, the triangle, the pyramids, like the significance of the pyramid. Very important. Now, of course, there are more than 3 points, but when we look at it, from a certain from a certain one dimensionally, then we see it as 3 points, right? 3 sides. Okay. The Torah, right? Torah readings, Torah cards. The 3 represents the Empress card, right? Which represents abundance, creativity, and feminine energy. So again, we're getting into how the 3 overlaps with other things. And when you start seeing that, then you recognize and you extrapolate the similarities, right? What is this saying in all of these different points of view, theories, perspectives? That is where truth reveals itself. Okay. Truth, not a matter of fact, but truth. You see, because there is a difference between fact and truth. Truth is something that you understand on a deeper level and you just cannot disregard it. It cannot be changed. It is a matter of your divine reality that you claim, okay, that is beyond, science or case studies or what have you, okay? So what do you do when you see 3s everywhere? So first thing you do is you embrace your creativity, right? You write, paint, dance, you just explore any ways of expression, okay? Music, singing, whatever it is that allows you to tap into or express yourself creatively. Speak your truth, right? So when you see 3s, be mindful that this is about expression. So you may be at a space where you're not communicating yourself. You're not communicating authentic, like being an authentic person, and you're not tapping into that and being honest with that, right? You're not honoring that. It may be in a relationship. It may be at your job. You may have things that you want to say, and you haven't wrote that book. You haven't made that video, you see? So it is your responsibility to recognize a symbol as your time to actually speak. Because you holding that in and not expressing yourself is really going to do more harm to you, especially physically, than anything. And then once you release that and send that out to the universe, not only do you feel better, but you actually contribute to the transformation of the universe that you are creating, right? And you are sending out positivity out to the universe. Stay playful and positive. When you see the 3s, stay playful and positive. So when you are creating, right? When you embrace your creativity, when you are singing and dancing, you're not doing that angry, right? You are having fun. You are playing. Now, when you are communicating and speaking your truth, please be mindful about that. Make sure you are doing so in a positive way, in a space of love, in a space of caring for that individual. A lot of times when we communicate and we speak our truth, when we're having a conversation with somebody, and it can be a serious conversation, of course, we are so caught up in our emotions and what we need that we are neglecting the person's needs who we are communicating to. Here's the trick. When you communicate to another person from a place of providing what they need, you are likely to walk away from that conversation way better off than you can imagine. And you are more likely to get what you needed. But if you come into a conversation and you're communicating from a place of anger, hate, negativity, you are not likely to walk away in a positive place from that conversation, from that interaction. Okay. Anything you walk into, anything you do, any situation, it must be led from a space of positivity, love, compassion, empathy, understanding, even if you are upset. That's the trick is we think that you being upset about something means that you are to project that negativity out towards people and that they're going to receive it well. It doesn't make sense, does it? So when you see threes and you're in a place where you're feeling anger, you're feeling restricted, you're feeling frustrated, recognize that you have to go in a space of playfulness or even positivity to communicate what it is that you need, right? From a place of recognizing what that person needs. When you provide what a person needs, they are more receptive to anything that you want. Okay? That's just the way the game works. That's just the way the universe works. You have to provide that first, and the universe will reciprocate it back to you. All right? And the final thing, when you see threes, follow your intuition. Okay? If you feel inspired to create, to communicate, if you feel like you have like a nudge, that's the divine source pushing you to actually take action, to actually communicate, to actually be creative, to actually be in a space where you're playful and positive. All right. So recognize this is a sign to loosen up, trust in the universe, relax a little bit. Okay. Now here's the exercise, the three creative expression ritual. So we talked about being creative, tapping into that creative energy. All right. So you're going to pick a form of creative expression, whether it be writing, painting, pottery, some kind of creative outlet, dancing. It can even be working out, whatever it is to, allow your body to move. It can be writing, anything that represents creativity to you. Then you're going to set a timer for 3 minutes. And then you're going to simply create 3 minutes, undistracted, focused, free, playful, positive. And you're going to just focus on doing that. All right. 3 minutes, at least 3 minutes. You can do more. Don't overthink it. Don't make it complicated. Try not to make it perfect. Just create. Okay. And you can do this every single day on the same thing. If you choose to, say that, I only resonate with dancing or I only resonate with painting, then you paint something for 3 minutes. The next day on the same painting, you spend 3 more minutes. And every day you are accumulating time into that work of art, into your creative process, right? Into expressing yourself. And eventually it will culminate into a beautiful work of art. All right. Or dancing. If you say, oh, you know what? I just want to dance every day for 3 minutes straight. Just imagine how great you feel if you just give yourself 3 minutes to be free, to dance, to move your body, to express yourself, even if you are alone, right? Especially when you're alone, because there's no more important relationship than the relationship with yourself. So when you are dancing, dance with yourself, right? Enjoy yourself, be with yourself, play, have fun. Okay. Now, an affirmation, I allow my creativity to flow effortlessly, right? I trust my unique voice and expression. I was trying to read the notes, right? So it's really about recognizing that you are an expressive being, right? You are a creator. When you see this number or any variation of this number, look within, okay? 3 is about expression. It's about creativity. Ask yourself, if you keep seeing that number, is there something that I need to express? All right. And go within, because a lot of times we ignore, we avoid, and we are not dialed into who and what we need to do. So make sure that you recognize that 3 represents expression and creativity. So that way, when you see the 3s, you know exactly what you need to do. Okay. So 3 is the number of divine creativity, joy, self-expression, right? It's a sign to trust your voice, embrace your talents, right? And share your gift with the world. This is what it's about. These numbers are not just mathematical digits, right? That just simply add up with one another. They represent something. They are a sign for you to actually recognize something within yourself, just like your emotions are a sign, just like your triggers are a sign. All of this is signs that is being communicated to you from the divine source to your conscious and subconscious mind to align with your consciousness, to align with your divinity, to align with the source, right? So recognize 3 as an opportunity, the number, the symbol of creation, of creativity, of expression. Okay. So thank you so much. Feel free, go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.